Hello and welcome to yet another YouTube video here on this channel. Today we are doing the ultimate note-taking app tier list for 2025, and the reason for me calling this the ultimate note-taking app tier list is simply because I have around 40 different note-taking apps on here, and if you can't see anything, don't worry. As I drag them on, I will make them bigger so it is much easier to see, but we are doing a note-taking app tier list, and I think I will do it in two parts. It might end up becoming three parts, but my goal is to get them in two parts. And the reason for that is just the fact that even if I spent 1 minute on each application, the video would still be around 37, 38 minutes. And that is just way too long for a YouTube video. And it is absolutely way too long for a note taking app tier list. But I will start off with part one. I will then continue, so I won't remove anything for part two, and then we will do part three if that is necessary. But I will also try to explain my reasoning behind everything. So let's start off with an easy one because this is going to be a really hard task, I think. So we will just start off with a really easy one, and this is probably the easiest one on the list, and this is called Obsidian. Let's make it a little bigger. This is called Obsidian, and it has a plugin ecosystem. It is probably the most versatile application on this list. It stores all of your files locally, so if you use Obsidian, your files are stored locally on your device. It is free. You can pay for syncing, but you can also use third-party syncing options. What makes this really good is the community plugins and the huge community behind those plugins. You can actually turn Obsidian into almost everything you want. So let's say you need databases and project management, you can find a plugin for that. Let's say you need better task management, you can find a plugin for that. Let's say you need a Readwise integration or even a voice notes integration, you can find a plugin for. There is plugins for almost everything. And with all of that, it comes with a huge learning curve, which might be an issue. And that is probably the only like major issue that Obsidian has, and maybe also the way it treats images and files, because everything is stored locally. If you store a lot of images, especially if you work in a field like I do, where your images are really, really big, it can become an issue. But apart from that, there isn't actually anything bad or negative to say about Obsidian, so it is definitely an S tier, and I really think it deserves that. It is one of the best applications on the market, even if it has never really clicked for me. Next up, we have a newer one. This is Lazy. It is heavily centered around the Mac ecosystem. There is a web version. It is much better than the first time I tested it out. So I tested it out a couple of days ago. That video might be out by the time this video is out. But it offers a lot of cool features. The main selling point of this is that quick capture is really easy, so you can quickly capture the articles, podcast transcribes, YouTube transcriptions. Oh, that was really hard to say. YouTube transcriptions and parts of transcriptions. You can actually save that in your note-taking app. It has an inbox where you can quickly process your notes. So it has a lot of cool features like that, but it is also in a really early stage. The major drawbacks of this is, first of all, the fact that it is um, really iOS and Mac heavy, which I think is an issue, especially for a tier list like this, because there are just so many good applications that are good both on the Mac and on Windows and on Android and on iOS and so on. With all of that, also the fact that I have struggled with bugs within this application. So I got in back in, I think it was March. I tried it for 3 months. It cost me $10 each month if I paid for 3 months at the time. And I actually had an issue where I lost a bunch of my notes, or one huge note. I lost all of it when I used the AI inside of the application. So I I think I've never been able to forgive the application after that, even though it has fixed a lot of the issues. But I think I will put this in, let's give it C tier, because I think it is much better now. Actually, let's give it D tier. I think it's much better now, but um, it falls down from C to D simply because there is no fully functioning mobile application. There is only a capture application, which is okay at the start, but when I'm comparing it to all of the other options I see in front of me right here, it is hard to give it anything better than a D tier. Next up, we have Heptabase, and Heptabase is like a visual note-taking app. You have whiteboards, and you can put like cards on top of your whiteboards, and it is a really good application. I've really enjoyed it. It has databases as well. It is probably, when it comes to like text-based visual note-taking, this is going to be your best choice. It is the best like visual note-taking app when it comes to storing text files and PDFs as well. It does a good job with PDFs as well. So I think in that department, this application is really, really good. There isn't actually many things I dislike about this. There isn't actually anything I can think of that I dislike about this. I think they've added a lot of cool features. The best one is probably one they added, or I saw at least today. Today is the 9th of December, and that is when I came across a feature which allows you to drag podcast episodes into your whiteboards as audio cards, as well as giving you transcriptions for you to take notes of, which is great. That is also a really cool feature that this has just added. So I am going to give this S tier as well. I think it deserves to be up there with Obsidian. Probably not as good. Obsidian has a little bit more, but I think it is slowly getting to the level of something like Obsidian. Now we are going to do, let's actually do Sublime. Sublime is also one of these newer applications I have tested out. This is a different way of taking notes. So instead of just taking regular notes like you would do in any application, this is a place where you can take and share your notes, and others can share their notes to you, which is something I know a lot of people enjoy, and it is a really cool idea. It is an idea that I really like. When it comes to the application in itself, it has a few issues that it needs to solve. The major one is actually the fact that if I take a note and I put it inside of this application and I share it with everyone, and people put it into their workspace, who then owns the note? Because I might have an idea, then I might go back on the idea, and I might even mean the opposite after a year or two. Like my thoughts have changed. Don't I no longer agree with the things I wrote. If I then edit that thing, it will be edited for everyone who have saved that note. So there is some issues around that and like public note taking, but the UI UX of this application is really good. I like the search engine. I also like the related notes engine, so I am going to give this a C tier. Next up, we have Tooz, and Tooz is an application that has improved a lot since the first time I tested it out recently. The biggest change has been the addition of Tooz Pals, which is basically a list that does things for you. One of the major things I like about this is the fact that it grows with you, so it is really simple at the start. It is just a place for you to make lists and write down things. That is basically what it wants to be. It wants to be a place where you create lists and you write down things. Those things might be your tasks, they might be ideas, they might be book notes, they can be almost everything, but basically the app just wants you to write it down. When it comes to the issues within this application, I think it could have a couple more like note-taking features, but I don't think necessarily that's what it wants to have. But like for note-taking, because this is mainly about note-taking and not all-in-one applications, I think that it could add things like, for example, backlinks would be great in an application like this. Probably a couple more features as well, but that is the one I've been thinking about. Also, a little better like interface and experience for long form note taking, because a lot of the other applications has that feature to be able to write longer notes. Uh, Either that or they are just dedicated outliner applications like Tana, but this actually has the ability to write longer notes and paragraphs, but I don't think that it does a good job. However, with all of the things they've added, and especially the addition of Two's Pals, I think this deserves to be up here in A tier. I know that a few people have experienced bugs with this application. I actually haven't, so I will put it in A tier. Next up, we have Amplenote, and Amplenote is an amazing application. This revolves around like task management together with your notes, together with your calendar. It wants to have it all. And I think that this is a really underrated application. The big issue I have with it, like it has a lot of great note-taking features, like backlinking, like graph view, but where I think it lacks is the way the application looks. So the UI of it, it feels a little clunky, even a little old, and that is why, at least what I've read in my comment section, that is one of the reasons why people are not actually using this. That is what they tell me in my comment section and in different discussions I've had. So that is the only like huge issue. I think I still will give it an A tier. I still think that it is a really underrated note-taking application. Next up, we have Reflect, and Reflect is actually a newer application. It hasn't been around for that long, even though it feels like it. So when I got into the PKM space a couple of years ago, Reflect was one of the new applications. At that point, I don't even think they had a full mobile application. I think I used the test flight version when I first tested out the application, and that is around 2, 3 years ago. But from there, they have gotten a long way. This is an easier version of something like Obsidian. It doesn't have all of the features, but it gives you like connected note taking, backlinking, and things like that without all of the learning that you have to do inside of Obsidian. It also has AI chat, which is something that a lot of people really like. It has a whisper integration, so you can do audio notes within here as well. And it has a lot of good AI integrations. It is also a super fast application, so I am going to give this a tier as well. I think this is one of the best applications, and people call it an Obsidian clone, but I would rather say that this is for people who want this, but like they want Obsidian, but they are not willing to put in all of the learning that comes with something like Obsidian. So I think they hit a sweet spot there. Next up, we have Mem, and when I am filming this video, Mem 2.0 hasn't come out yet. So I am judging the old Mem experience. And the biggest issue that Mem has had is that Mem does not know what it wants to be, which is one of the worst issues you can have, but they've gone back and forward. It wants to be the AI application that organizes things for you. They added like AI chat abilities just like Reflect has, but I feel like Reflect is much better because where Mem misses, the AI is quite good. The self-organizing isn't too bad, but where Mem really struggles is the note-taking experience. It isn't pleasant taking notes inside of Mem. I've never enjoyed it. There are issues, there are things not working as intended, and in general, the experience just isn't too good when it comes to note taking. And as I've said many times before, you can have all of the great AI you want, but if the basic functionality of the application does not work, then you actually have a huge issue. So I am going to put this in D tier. I think it is at the level of something like lazy, even though it has been around longer. However, I think that with the addition or introduction of MEM 2.0, this can become really, really good. Let's do one more for the part one of this video. We are doing Walling, and Walling is a visual note-taking app that gives you the visual benefits of something like Melanote or many other applications. My Mind is another one that is a really good visual note-taking app, but it gives you the benefit of all of those note-taking apps, but it also gives you databases and project management like you have inside of Notion. So this is one of my favorite applications. There is just one huge issue, and that is the fact that the application does not work. Like, it has way too many bugs. There are so many issues with this application, like copy and pasting. Something as basic as copy and pasting does not work inside of this. They changed CEOs this year, but that is often a sign of a downfall of an application, but I will try to stay positive. I think they can become better because the idea behind this is really, really good, but the execution is terrible. So I am actually going to put this down in F tier. Like, I wouldn't recommend this. This is a terrible experience, even though I am actually currently paying for the yearly plan of this. It is a really terrible experience, but that covers it for the first part of this video. If you're interested in part 2 and 3, please do like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you again quite soon.